you're running a mid-level operation, now if you're just selling nicks and dimes, you can do that yourself. But if you're running an operation where you can't keep the money at the same place where you doing the thing and stuff like that, you need girls, man. And girls, there's a lot of girls in the hood that are willing to be part of that, but
willing to
you
rent the
can't do it.
cars. You gotta have the girls to rent the cars because you ain't got no fucking credit.
Exactly.
You gotta have the girls with the address because you know you a homosexual, you homeless basically.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The girls are very important in these situations. That's literally that's how majority of these homicides or these robbery crews and the fucking carjacking crews, they all get solved because it all comes back to a girl. And they grab that girl and then that girl end up telling. So
oh yeah. Because she didn't sign up for all that. She just signed up for the good times. And plus, girls are like they'll when they're in brought to the in front of the police, they see it as like snitching. The snitch code is not as tight with girls, even if they're hood. You know what I'm saying? It's like they don't view it like snitching. It's like, I'm a girl. What you expect? You know what I'm saying? What you expect? Of course I snitched. I'm a girl. Yeah. So it's like, and people know that. People know, dudes know once a girl get bagged, it's pretty much, yo, she don't tell. It's like, yo, she a G. Most dudes pretty much know, like, yo, girl gonna snitch, man. Yeah, she gonna tell. She'll tell everything. Let's see, man. I got some. Okay, let's go here, man. Let's go here with it, man. Off the late night, man.
September, and the kids are off to school. Most of them off to their neighborhood public school.
What year is this?
1966.
But the neighborhoods have changed. Where once the public schools truly represented a cross-section of children of varied incomes and backgrounds, today, unwillingly but inevitably, many city schools have become ghetto schools, a concentration of race, poverty, and defeat.
Yep.
Put a school down in the middle of a ghetto, and you're there. Goodbye. And then the principal and his staff and the secretaries, they are down in there, and they must then continue what is known as the educational process.
The teachers are turned off, somewhat the administrators are turned off, somewhat I'm turned off. What I'm trying to say really, the total picture here, is that nobody can function well and effectively in the ghetto. That everybody in it is overwhelmed by the circumstance and by everybody else in it. And it's a total condition which is pressing in upon us.
We've lost them already. These kids are now 14, 15, 16 years old. What we can do with them is nothing more than a holding action.
And just to get the rest of the record straight, teacher training hasn't been making it either. I've trained hundreds, literally thousands, and you know, some of the ones that have really literally broken my heart have been some of my best students who would leave that nice classroom and come out to work in your school or a school like it and quit psychologically within one day. Some of them quit the first day they come on a job, and others quit 1 week later, and some of them run to the suburb. But it is a debacle.
He said they quit psychologically the first day.
He talking about the teachers?
Yeah. Yep.
This shit is way worse now. Shit, 1956 was bad. 2024 is horrendous.
You know what though? I think though that if you look at it, everything being relative, probably nothing has changed, because if you just think about the black person at that time, if you look at our freedoms now, how much freedoms we have, even though we know that it wasn't as bad as they say it was, blah, blah, blah. Those people were supposed to be second-class citizens, even though we know the Klan wasn't running up on them, beating them up in the streets. They were supposed to be second-class citizens. They weren't supposed to be able to, like, cause havoc in the school. Like, you're supposed to be on your best behavior. You like, what you mean you like terrorizing the school? The fuck, you're a second-class citizen. It's actually more egregious back then.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Just as, yeah. I mean, you didn't have as many
Boss.
incidents with like
Firearms.
the brother that's in Chicago.
Right,
He
yeah.
knows you have shootings in and around schools on a
But did you see Cooley High?
frequent
Have you
basis.
seen Cooley High?
Yeah,
I know
Cabrini
you've
Green.
seen Cooley High.
My second oldest brother's in that movie, man.
Okay, so you remember the way they behaved
Yeah,
in Cooley
Cabrini
High.
Green.
Yeah,
Their typical day, the shit they were doing on a typical
Yeah.
day.
It was a Fight Club.
they were wild.
They was
They didn't
wilding
fight
out.
that much. Yeah,
Yeah, but they were wilding out as far as like
yeah.
they took whatever they want and they did whatever they wanted.
hmm
And you know what I'm saying? So it's like,
So I mean, basically though, in all actuality, black folks been free spirits since the fucking beginning of time.
Right.
We were just kind of like lied to, and like I ain't gonna lie, 1966, you know what I'm saying? My dad, he was around, he was, you know, whatever, but he make it seem like the motherfucking the goddamn, it wasn't a Klan, but it was something close to it. Shit.
Like if you sneeze too loud, they might don't get
Yeah.
your ass.
Yeah. And
Where did he live?
He grew up in the gardens.
Oh, Gil.
Yeah.
It's rough.
Yeah,
Gardens are
man.
rough, man.
Nah, my dad be having like a whole bunch of like fake racism stories and shit.
Yo, but I believe this guy though, Krug, this brother right here, the shit he's saying, I know that to be true though. How the gliders used to be very aggressive on protecting the neighborhoods. They used to chase people all the time. And
not as
he
much
did
over
say
there.
that. He did say that like going like Roseland was like off limits, and I'm like,
You couldn't.
I just can't see shit being off limits. To some people.
Roseland was all gliders, dude. Roseland was.
I don't see gliders fucking like whooping brothers from the gardens ass, bro. I just don't see it.
Well, check this out. Check this out. Dick Buckus grew up right outside that area. So that was the caliber of white brothers you had back in, and Dick Buckus would break your face.
And the white boys are big. The white boys are not necessarily small either, though. You know.
I mean, Chicago was all hood, man. Like white hood, they were tough.
This is gangland.
The white guys had gangs too.
Exactly.
They weren't punks.
They were tough back in the day. I don't know what happened to them.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing, though. This is the thing that the gap in the thinking about this, right? So, like, say sons, right? A son gang and another son gang. They fight every day, and they fucking this son gang kills 5 of that gang, and this son gang kills 4 of that gang, and they shoot. There's a bunch of shootings back and forth. People don't really remember that. They don't really, that doesn't stick in your brain because that's the forest for the trees. But if your dad once knew one guy who went to visit a girl in the white neighborhood and got his ass kicked, he's going to remember that. That's going to stand out. And that's going to live. I think a lot of those black people, they're talking about few and far between incidents with white people.
I can see that for sure because the way he is, man, he say the same like 3 stories. He been saying the same 3 stories since I was a kid. And I just be like, yo, that's not that bad, bro. Like, like what the fuck? Like you did all right, man.
Territorial boundaries. That's something else.
It's more dangerous with the brothers out on the bound than with the gliders. Even the gliders were tough. The brothers are more dangerous because they're gonna kill you. They're gonna gun you down.
They'll kill you. That's the difference. Brothers will kill your ass.
Awful in terms of what happens to young people who get slaughtered when they come into reality.
NET Journal presents The Way It Is.
hatred of ones that are fucking debaucheries. That's a
That's
big part of
true.
the problem that as a society was struggling with. That the
Yeah, the
squares are
normalization
caping
of it.
from.
Yeah,
Am I
yeah,
wrong in saying
definitely.
that? See,
Well, no, I mean, listen, let me read this super chat, man. Salute to Tomcat, man. He says rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft.
Amen.
That's where the American black woman resides, in rebellion to universal
That's
laws.
scorching, man.
Wow.
That's
Robert
scorching.
Cantrell Jr. says, respect to your show, Ak, and the brother Willie Williams. Try to bring awareness and advice on how to analyze, how to navigate in Blackistan peace. Yeah, shout out to Willie Wilson, man.
Who's that? Who's that?
Willie Williams. He a black YouTuber, man. He
okay.
He come on during the daytime sometimes, man. He been on YouTube for a long time too. Yeah, Willie Williams is funny. He funny as shit though. He hilarious, man.
He be keeping it real or what?
Oh, I mean, look, I mean, he put like this, man. I mean, he a son, man. He got a great show, and he do it, and he do his thing. He don't like subscribe to the stuff that I subscribe to, like DNA and shit like that. But he got his own style. Like everybody got their own style, man. He got his own style, but he come through, man. I watch him. I watch him maybe once or twice a week, man. Shout out to Willie Williams, man. He definitely knows. He knows. Okay, I'm put it like that. He knows.
I got another question for you.
Hold on. Let me get to these. I'm trying to move forward with this video too, man. High Fire comes through and says, salute to the Op Nation panel. Always bringing great conversation and insights from around the world. Smiggity, smash the like. Yeah, man, we should have. Shout out to you, High Fire. We should have about 10,000 likes. I'm guessing. I'm not going to check, but I'm guessing we got about 10,000.
Set for them back in the 1840s are supposed to be equal, if not superior to, any private school. But are they? In New York City, Negro and Puerto Rican children now outnumber white children in the public schools, and that's the case in more and more city schools across the country. 1,200 students attend Junior High 57, a pleasant ghetto school in Brooklyn's Bedford-Stuyvesant district. 3/4 of the children are Negro, 1/4 are Puerto Rican. There are 12 white pupils. What kind of an education are these children getting? As is typical of ghetto 7th graders, this class enters junior high, already 2.5 years behind the national norms. If they actually succeed in finishing high school, they will, by that time, have fallen 5 years behind.
You know, the problem here that it's amazing that these gliders can't see it is that these were 100% glider schools, and then overnight, as soon as they integrated, all of the white kids left, but the standards stayed the same. So these kids aren't really 2.5 years behind. It's the fact that the standards weren't readjusted for the school going from 100% white to 75% black. So I don't think these kids are 2.5 years behind. I think they're just black kids. and they learn at a different pace, and they learn at a different level.
Principal Lou Schwartz.
It has been true for many, many years.
Lou Schwartz, Juice Crew.
10-12% of our school that is learning on a what might be termed a fair level and even on a high level. But our basic problem is we've got this 90% of the school which just is not moving ahead. These kids, if you were to meet them anywhere, this 90%, meet them around school, in school, outside of school.
Yeah, he's talking about they're not moving ahead. What do you mean moving ahead? You haven't readjusted the standard. You got a fucking 100% white school standard. They're probably like judging them by AP courses. They're probably like expecting these kids to take AP biology and shit. And fucking pre-calculus and shit. Like, nah, man, these kids are behind. You gotta make them maybe algebra 1 or pre-algebra, or you know what I'm saying? Geometry may be the highest course you can have in that school. Whereas before you might have taught calculus. You know what I'm saying? I think this is kind of like giving sons a bad rap, because these kids
setting them up for failure.
Yeah, these kids probably aren't behind. I mean, by saying that they're behind, like I'm sure that you have all the sudden bullshit there, but I'm talking about the kids that are actually going to school and doing their work. Those kids are just, blacks aren't good at math like other races. Blacks aren't good at science like other races.
Like you saying though, that he had to take in consideration like that the school that they were at was an all black color. It was an all color school. They were learning at a certain pace, and then boom, overnight you at the white school, like you know what I'm saying, the school. All the fucking white kids leave, so you ain't got no real like fucking white leadership or no shit like that when it comes to like a studious classroom and etiquette and all the other shit. But you still teaching the same shit as if that they kind of like melted into it. It wasn't no melt into it was a force. They forced them kids into that fucking environment.
Exactly. You like got fucking bio. You probably got chemistry. You probably doing experiments, pouring vials and shit. And you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, nah. Now you got a classroom where like kids are cracking jokes and the teachers getting fucking cracked on and shit. Like, yo, and kids gotta learn within that. They gotta learn through that and learn, around that. And look at you can't tell me that all these kids are hoodlums, man, especially in 1966. But I get it. The black kids probably came in there with a fight and all that bullshit. But to say that they're 2 years behind, I just think is a little disingenuous.
They respond and respond well. Question is, something happens to them in the classroom situation, in the school situation, which keeps them from learning.
These harsh facts have rocked the educational community. Across the country, university educators are coming down from their ivory towers to find out what has gone wrong. In a unique experiment, Jack Robertson, professor of education at New York University, and his NYU specialists are joining forces with Principal Lou Schwartz and his staff to see if together they can help salvage this particular 7th grade. For we are at war, and at stake are America's ghetto kids. But we fight with weapons that are from a different age, and we must find...
And this is before what? IQ, right? This is before the bell curve. So these people have no idea that blacks have, on average, not every single black person, but on average, blacks have lower IQs. And they're not, these people, this is what, 30 years before the bell curve was published?
I think you're underestimating the perception of perceptive people.
So it doesn't seem like they're perceptive. They're trying to figure it out. They're trying to attribute it to other things.
Well, there was also a German group of scientists who made a hierarchy of races, and they were using IQ as a measurement, surely.
Yeah, but the bell curve doesn't talk about race, though. The bell curve is kind of safe because it doesn't talk about race like that. The race is only mentioned one time in the entire book.
Wait, so what do they say?
They just say that like, yo, it is what it is. Like, yo, certain groups have higher IQs. The distribution.
Do they say like urban, like the urban population or something?
No, populations and stuff like that. They use that term, but it's the distribution, like a bell curve. Like, yes, you got a lot of black people with high IQs, but the majority in that bell have low IQs in the outside. Yeah, so it's like
the statistical concept now. So they may not have grasped that yet.
Yeah, this one right here, this is them trying to figure out that it's something else, and they're probably blaming themselves. I bet they blame themselves.
Find new ones when this is the battlefield. NYU plans to divide the 17 classes of the 7th grade into 6 clusters, each made up of 3 classes that will share the same teachers and an NYU cluster leader. This is one such class.
Calvin, Linda, are you going to sit down? You were great this morning.
That's still bullshit.
You were so terrific this morning.
I had to turn the volume down.
This is class 7-5, and a new teacher at Junior High 57, Freddie Kamanoff, teaches them English. They'll be part of one new cluster.
All right. Please get with it. I'm waiting for attention still from everybody. I asked you to do something this morning. We did a little bit of it, but we didn't finish. I'm going to continue with everybody. Please take out your notebooks and turn to it.
Man, hell no. That shit look wild as hell. I would have took my motherfucking little glider kids out this bullshit too.
Hell yeah.
Fucking attention, man. Come on, man. Them people's out there. Hold on. What was that? Jerry Jones out there with them?
Yeah.
His ass was right. Fuck that. You can't learn shit in this environment.
Nah, but we talk about that all the time, how the private schools, like, yo, they make so much money off white people because white people have to take their kids out of these schools. If not for the learning, just from the fact that, yo, this temperament, white people have different temperaments. They have different, they have a different rhythm. They have a different beat. They move to a different beat. Even the white kid who's a cat-ass clown, his jokes ain't gonna be funny here. Even the white kid who fights, say he knocks a black kid down, he's gonna stop once the black kid's knocked down and shit. Black kids don't stop. They have to be peeled off of you. It's a different rhythm. You know what I'm saying? It's a different. We're so different. You can't put us in the same schools, man.
This is class 7-5, and a new teacher at Junior High 57, Freddie Kamanoff, teaches them English. They'll be part of one new cluster.
All right. Please get with it. I'm waiting for attention still from everybody. I asked you to do something this morning. We did a little bit of it, but we didn't finish. I'm going to continue with everybody. Please take out your notebooks and turn to a clean page. If you need paper, then ask me. George. Calvin, you have your loose leaf. Could I ask you to open it? You can go before the period ends, but not now. What's the difference between mob, and mope? Let's go. All right. Ralph said the spelling is different. Yes. With an O. Is the sound really the same? Do these words rhyme? Or if so, which ones rhyme? Who can explain to George what's happening? George.
Hey, look at that white kid. That white kid looks like he might be trying to learn something, but he's out of place. What's up?
I was just thinking, you know, if you just went to a random school in Africa of a similar or younger aged classroom,
No, they ain't acting
they'd
up.
be
They
much
not
better
up.
behaved. Like they would
No,
be
'cause
diligent little students
yeah.
up until
No,
where they become recruited to become a child soldier, I suppose.
No, in Africa, there's no toleration for this.
No, there's repercussions if you acting a fucking fool out
Yeah.
there. Hey,
The African kid think about doing this.
If this teacher right here,
so what the hell?
If she was for integration before, and she wasn't racist, that bitch ended up. I guarantee that she died racist. I guarantee you she died hating you somewhere.
Maybe she went extra woke. Because here's the thing: this is the woman that's fucking 70, 80 years old now. Well, she might be. Let's say she's 28 now in 1966. So she's what, 90 now or some shit like that. This woman would have been woker. She wouldn't have turned racist. She would have blamed herself. She would have blamed the system. She would have said the school system is doing something wrong, or society is doing something wrong. She wouldn't blame this on these fucking kids or their temperament and their response is like black people. We respond to stimuli different. You know what I'm saying?
True.
You know what I'm saying? This class setting. If one person cracks a joke, it spreads like wildfire. Somebody laughing or somebody is like acting out. That shit is like a virus. It sweeps through us. And other whites aren't like that. They're individualistic. So since they're individualistic, they can resist the one person acting out and just.
I have a perfect example of this. It happened recently. So the context is a handshake line at the end of a basketball game. I shook the person's hand, and he had an issue.
Please speak clearly too, because you tell this. If you're gonna tell a story, and you gotta at least tell it. You speak clearly.
I'll do my best. So in the handshake line, someone had an issue with me, and they started to act up. It was a Sunman, and the person behind me was a fellow Sunman coach, and I ignored him. Like this guy was just going off and acting a fool, and he looked stupid. So I just ignored him and continued in the line. But he had to react. Like he just couldn't resist. And I was like, stop, man. Like just ignore them, and like they'll look like idiots. But he couldn't resist.
So a coach on your team went after the coach on another team that was acting out towards you.
He was a player, but yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we have a harder time controlling our impulses. So like if you really can't control your impulses, and it's a classroom full of you, and one kid or a couple kids that are popular or cool start acting out and disrespecting the space and disrespecting the teacher, it's a good chance that the rest of them are going to do that. Oh yeah, man. But
do you think that's genetics, or do you think it's socialization?
It's 100% genetics.
So which one's wrong? Who can explain to George what's happening? George.
The hallways are a way of life. While the classes go on, they are never empty and rarely quiet.
Sit down. James, sit down. Listen, sit down. Listen, I said sit down. Sit down, Stephen.
Gabe McGuire, 23 years old, is the school's math teacher in this same cluster and is the official teacher for class 714 as well.
7 miles on the old highway until he gets to the city. Willie, wait just a second. You keep saying you get the wrong answer. How do you know it's the wrong answer? How do you know? Because you won't get 110.
I think one thing that I have common with these kids is the fact that I was from a large family of 8 children. My father was a steel worker, and I'm from a broken home. It was just mental turmoil there for a long period of time. And I sense the confusion that many of these kids exist under now. I can sense it now because I've lived under the same kind of thing. The school became a place, I guess when I could really call it a home. It really became a home through the efforts of individual teachers. And I think that's one reason why I really wanted to become a teacher, because in a sense I wanted to repay those teachers who were somewhat devoted and dedicated to straightening out my life to a certain extent. But for many of these students in this area, I don't think that school has become a home, because I think there's a lack of many of the social activities within the school to just bring out students in terms of getting along with each other.
Even stick some water, man. Yeah, you sit over there. Bro, sit over here so I don't trip on you. Bring it over here. All right. Come on, Ramon, sit where you belong. Sit where you belong now.
Every class, they're acting like this, regardless of the teacher's young and black, whether he's white, whether he's old, it doesn't matter. Their behavior is the same. Salute to Yokohama. He said, did they dominate sports after integration? Of course.
This is a nightmare. Like, being a person in this classroom, it's just be torture.
Did you go to school with black kids, KB?
Yeah, I mean, they were in the minority, but yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
How did they act when they were in the minority? Like how was the behavior similar to this, or did they conform to the?
I mean, yeah, there's definitely like the entertainment aspect, like trying to be an entertainer in the classroom setting. That's what I noticed. And nothing like bad or acting out. Never trying to get in trouble.
I think this school is like an experiment of some kind, because, you know, a lot of you all probably didn't have that same experience, but during this time, at least the principal could beat your behind. And in many cases, teachers could. So the fact that they're not doing anything like that, I think this is like some type of liberal experiment.
Well, also that whole teacher beating you behind thing is also, you have to understand, like the teacher has to gauge that, the principal has to gauge that. It's the same thing. Like if you were the teacher, you know, like, yo, these kids, nah, I better not even try to whip one of these kids. That's my ass. Like, I mean, you can tell, man. Like, I don't think that it's necessarily like something going on here. I think this is just a normal school, and the neighbors, yeah. Back in my day, I get a whooping from the neighbor, and then by the time I get home, my mom found out that I get another whooping. Yeah, but the kid has to be the type of kid that you can do that to. You know what I'm saying?
I must have been that type of kid.
Obviously, you were. I mean,
I kid you not. Now, like we would get paddles for like the teacher taught you this, so you should know it. You get some stuff wrong on your homework. My second grade teacher would take us in the coat room and beat our legs with a paddle. Now, more egregious stuff like this, in the time that I went to school in Chicago, every last one of these kids would have gotten their behind beaten. And it kept a semblance of order, like you weren't going to act out because you know you could get it, and your parents weren't coming to save you from it. You know what I'm saying? They were like, "What did you do?" You're like, "Dang, you know, I don't even get no help on your end." Like that was the part of the culture. That's why I say this is something different, because this is earlier than my time, and like it's like they know that nothing's going to happen to them.
Yeah, man. I mean, you having a hard time believing this is real, man. I mean, what more do you like? I don't know. I mean, like, what more do you want, man? Like, this is what it is, man. You sometimes you gotta just believe your lying eyes, man.
George, sit down. Sit down. Sit down. Sit down. Stop smiling.
Like, do you think that teacher could take out a paddle and hit this black kid? Make this like, I mean, do you like what are you talking about, man?
Bro,
It's so
I got beat by a white principal before. That's what I'm talking about.
No, I'm talking about. Do
I'm
you
believing
think
my
that?
lying history.
Time out. You missing what I'm saying? Do you think that this teacher could pull out a paddle and beat this kid? Yes or no?
Obviously not.
That's where you belong now. George, sit down. Sit down. Sit down. Sit down. Stop smiling. What happens to the
Saul Siegel is the school's science teacher for the new cluster and will work with Gay, Freddie, and others to plan new programs together with their NYU cluster leader.
elements?
Yeah.
Fine.
This before the fucking IEP. You hear me? This before the fucking IEP and all the other shit. Because that kid that keeps screaming, "Oh snap!" is definitely autistic. Something got to be fucking wrong with him. So this before they start separating kids and special ed and shit.
Or like maybe like we just hear these stories from the past. Like, do you understand that? Like, I heard when I was coming up, right? When I was like 7, the older boys around the neighborhood would be like, "Man, back in our day, you could fight, man, but now everybody picking up guns, man. We used to fight back in the day." And then when my generation came along, it was like, "Man, we could fight back in the day. Now everybody picking up guns." And now you hear kids saying, "Man, back in the day, you could fight. Now they're picking up." It's just Negro babble. And it's never what really went on. Niggas always been shooting people. Niggas always was quick to grab guns. It was never no era where it was fighting. It was eras where, yeah, there was maybe more fighting than some, but it was never in an era where those dudes was the element would not quickly pick up a gun and shoot your ass. And I think this whole thing about how we had structure and the teacher could do this, the teacher could do that. I think that's good kids that had that, man. I think that these bad kids, you can't. They didn't have to worry about.
There was no
them
chance.
doing something in the neighborhood. Yeah, it's some fucking neighbor whooping their ass.
That goes back to that whole what we focus on in the community. We focus so much attention on the bad kid that we lose track of the good kid. You know what I'm saying? Like we put no attention on the good kid. Everything from government to everybody is programs to fucking activists and all this other shit. Every program, every government assistance, every blah blah is basically targeting one type of kid or one type of person.
That's true.
Yeah, man. This shit reminds me of the classrooms I was in. So it doesn't make me, I'm not like, oh, this is impossible. This is the type of classrooms I was in, man. And I was doing this shit, and this is just what it is, man. I don't see nothing here where I'm like, man, this gotta be some experiment. This gotta be some shit. Shit, this is us at Bernie.
Man, listen, that looked nothing. I went to predominantly black school in the 70s, and nothing like that. You may have had one or two bad kids in a classroom. That was like kind of crazy. But I mean, you got to think about it. You're coming from an era where there was more discipline even in the home. But I do agree with you with the fact that there were certain kids that they wouldn't do it because they knew that their whole family was that way. So the mama or the daddy or whoever is going to come up there and act a fool about them getting hit. But I got mine behind Pop. I was never a discipline issue with a whole host of other black kids that weren't discipline issues. Like, we actually had quiet lunch, which is crazy. We would not open our mouths because we knew that we could get in trouble. And we were actually afraid of being in trouble. Yeah, and this is just 40-some years ago.
They may have that. There may be something else that can explain that.
Child rearing.
But this right here,
just like your kids ain't gonna be like that because you're gonna raise them.
This is what it was, man. I never, this is what it was, man. When I was going to school, like, I mean, look, it just is what it is.
It's the disruption. So that's at a base level. It's just the constant disruption.
And I wanted to ask you if you listened to anything from Thomas Sowell.
Yeah, I'm on these topics. I'm not aligned with Thomas Sowell, man.
I got you
about this, man. I'm a DNA.
What about his history? Because he's in his 90s. Like when he talks about his era and his period.
Yeah, I mean, listen, man. I mean, he's a very wise man, very smart, and extremely smart man. And
he blaming this on hillbilly culture or some shit, right?
Yeah,
he's gonna blame the Scottish people.
He's not alone though. That's why I asked him. He's not alone. Like the original, the black people that were in Harlem, they talked about how when the Southerners came, it changed completely the landscape. And if you look, the same thing with Chicago, like you'll say, like in the 1920s, 30s. And if you look at the statistics, it's a lot of truth to it. A lot of the stuff falls in line with the fatherless homes and all of those things that you hear a lot of the conservatives speak. It falls in line with it because if you look let's say pre-65 in Chicago,
man. I got you.
It lines up.
I got you.
Right? We take the water, we take gas, lose their property, but we can separate them, we can get it back again, right? What did we get from the sugar? Can you tell me, Wanda? Where's Wanda? Wanda, tell me what we got from the sugar. What? Get the business, make you some money.
Sowell has just become a teacher at 52 years of age.
Really, I always wanted to teach. I always felt that I could teach, or I'd like to teach. But I worked in the shop. It was very hard to make the break.
Juicy.
Well, I've been a printer all my life. Offset printer, working on a press. So I've been talking for so many years about becoming a teacher. It was now or never. Since I didn't have any ed courses, and the thought of going back to college to take ed courses was just insurmountable to me. And this course came up for 6 weeks. I quit my job. I was in the water, started to swim. Here I am, and sometimes I feel I'm drowning rather than swimming. But it's a very interesting experience. I wouldn't have skipped it. I've come from a background similar to the children in this neighborhood, the slum background. Come from a family of 12 children. And I thought, it was all theory at the time, that I would have some common bases with the children in this neighborhood. And I came here, and I think it's true yet, but certainly it's different, completely different than anything I imagined it would be like.
Yeah, I'm talking to Cole. I came from the slums, and I had a big family, and I thought that I would have something in common with these people, but it's totally different.
That's Juice
He
Crew
talking about
talk.
the Jewish. He talking about the Jewish slums, though.
Yeah, no, but it's the DNA. Like, even like, let's say he's Jewish. The way bad Jewish kids act, the way Jewish
It's
kids act
different.
out of school,
Yeah.
is not like this.
Nah, I agree. And I agree. and look, check it out. That whole speaking in code, it ain't really code. He's speaking in what he thought his reality was.
Yeah. Gliders oftentimes think that everyone thinks like them. And I don't know whether it's arrogance, I don't know whether it's foolishness, but gliders, they really do. Even if it's not just blacks. Like, even if they may think Cambodians or Filipinos or fucking Hombritos think just like them. But they don't. Okay, like, y'all think a certain way, Chinese think a certain way, everybody thinks their own way. Gliders think everybody thinks the same.
And the adjustment is very difficult as a result. Very difficult. But it's a battle, like any other thing that you do in life, you fight for it. And I think that as far as our country is concerned, our city is concerned, and even more selfishly, my family is concerned, the main problem is in areas like this and schools like this. And it has to be solved one way or another if my kids are going to live in a world where they can have a chance.
Without blinding.
In Bedford-Stuyvesant, the people share few of the hopes of white America, and this feeling comes off the streets and into the classrooms of Junior High 57. A recent study of ghetto children showed that many do not believe that they can really influence their own future, and the fact is that less than 50% can expect to graduate from this junior high with a regular diploma. The teachers have been able to reach only a limited few, and the universities have been unable to teach the teachers how to connect with ghetto kids.
Two things. They've only been able to reach a chosen few, right? Could that just be the distribution in the bell curve? Could that just be like, yeah, like that? Like I always tell you, every black person doesn't have a low IQ. Every black person doesn't have poor impulse control. Every black person doesn't have delayed gratification. But out of 1,000, 600 do, 700 do. So yeah, maybe the few they've reached are just the ones that don't have those traits.
Off the streets and into the classrooms of Junior High 57. A recent study of ghetto children showed that many do not believe that they can really influence their own future. And the fact is that less than 50% can expect to graduate from this junior high with a regular diploma. The teachers have been able to reach only a limited few, and the universities have been unable to teach the teachers how to connect with ghetto kids. This is one vital part of what NYU is trying to do now.
What I think we have to do is really to turn on the teachers, and the way to turn them on is not to tell them what to do, really, but it is to allow those good ideas that they've had and want to use to be expressed, and then to be tried in a protected situation where this time it can succeed instead of fail. And what I'm saying is you can't make a formula for that, and you can't say do it this way or this way or this way.
What is new here is that you want the teachers in the school, with the help of the extra personnel, to concentrate on the 80 or 90 children who will be within that family cluster. Now, this to me is rather new.
They can plan with each other, they can know each other, they can live with each other, and they get support from each other. I think that's terribly important. If you really want to turn people on, then you can't hold up a lot of things around here that are sacred and say, these we cannot do.
Jack Robertson has advised India, Thailand, Indonesia, Hawaii, and Puerto Rico on the problems of education. But he is finding his ultimate challenge right here in Bedford-Stuyvesant. To meet it, he has been given a 2-year grant to form the Clinic for Learning. Working with him are his cluster leaders, clinic teachers, and community agents who will work with organizations and parents outside of school. A large contingent of student teachers and trainees has been plucked out of the antiseptic university and put into on-the-job training in the
Look at all they were doing to fucking fix this problem in 1966. All the resources being poured into this community. All the people with degrees and fucking specific skills and knowledge. Guy's been all over the fucking world, and he's come back and he said the biggest challenge he's ever had, even teaching kids in the fucking jungle, because a lot of those places he mentioned, fucking Cambodia and Philippines and Papua New Guinea, those places are fucking jungles in the 60s. Those people were backwards back in those days. He's having the toughest time is in fucking New York City with a bunch of sun words. Salute to everybody out there in the chat, man. Great show. I may finish this video sometime in the future, man. If not next show, the show after that. But I want to get back to this. I want to see how long it takes them to blame. I want to see how long it takes them to blame themselves. Go ahead.
Why can't we call them ghetto anymore? It's such a common term they use in this show here.
That's how language is, man. Language changes. It's been 60 years, man. 60 years, man. A lot can change in 60 years, man. Great show, man.
It doesn't still fit.
Yeah, it does, but I mean, you can't use it, man. With black people, man. You're gonna get canceled, man. You can't
call us thugs. You can't do none of that shit. Shut up, Lighter.
Yeah, you can't do that shit. You can't call us Negroes. They're calling them Negroes. Go call a black person a Negro on the street.
You person of color, you.
Yeah, man. A lot has changed in 60 years, man. Same bad time. Same black channel. I'm out of here, man. Peace out.
Peace.
Salute you.
Peace out.